Africa is rising. From massive infrastructure projects, to technological revolutions, to military influence, to economic transformation. A new generation of African leaders is changing the story of the continent. For decades, Africa was often portrayed through poverty, conflict, and instability. But today, several African nations are becoming global economic players, diplomatic powerhouses, and innovation hubs. And behind these transformations are powerful leaders, presidents, reformers, strategists, and visionaries shaping the future of over 1.4 billion people. But power is complicated. Some are praised as heroes, others are criticized as authoritarian. Some transformed economies, others built strong military influence. Tonight on African Tales Arising, we explore the most powerful African leaders in modern Africa, their achievements, their controversies, and the legacy they may leave behind. Because in Africa, leadership can change the destiny of an entire nation. Before we begin, we must ask, what makes a leader truly powerful? Is it military strength, economic growth, political influence, diplomatic relationships, or the ability to inspire millions? In Africa, power often comes from a combination of economic performance, political stability, international influence, infrastructure development, military capability, public popularity, strategic alliances, and today, several African leaders stand out because they are influencing not only their own countries, but also the future direction of the entire continent. Let's begin. Few African leaders are as globally recognized as Paul Kagame. After the horrific 1994 genocide that killed nearly 1 million people, Rwanda was devastated. The country was broken. Its economy collapsed. Its institutions were destroyed. But over the last 2 decades, Rwanda has undergone one of Africa's most dramatic transformations. Today, Kigali is often called one of the cleanest and safest cities in Africa. Under Kagame's leadership, Rwanda became a technology and innovation hub. Corruption levels significantly decreased. Tourism expanded rapidly. Women gained major representation in government. Digital services transformed public administration. Rwanda even became one of the first African countries to use drones for medical deliveries in rural areas. International investors praise Rwanda for efficiency and stability. But Kagame's leadership is also controversial. Critics accuse his government of suppressing opposition voices and limiting political freedoms. Supporters argue that strong leadership was necessary to rebuild the nation after genocide. Regardless of opinion, one thing is clear: Paul Kagame has become one of the most influential political figures in Africa. When Abiy Ahmed came to power in 2018, the world celebrated him. He promised reform, unity, peace. And for a moment, Africa saw a new political star. Abiy made peace with neighboring Eritrea after decades of hostility. That achievement earned him the Nobel Peace Prize. He also introduced economic reforms, opening sectors to investment, expanding infrastructure, encouraging modernization. Meanwhile, Ethiopia continued major mega-projects like the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, one of Africa's largest hydroelectric projects. The dam symbolizes Ethiopia's ambition to become an energy giant. But Ethiopia's story soon became more complicated. Internal conflict, especially the Tigray War, brought international criticism and humanitarian concerns. Still, Ethiopia remains one of Africa's most strategically important nations. And Abiy Ahmed remains one of the continent's most influential and debated leaders. South Africa is Africa's most industrialized economy, and its president carries enormous continental influence. Cyril Ramaphosa came into office promising reform after years of corruption scandals under previous leadership. As a businessman and former anti-apartheid activist, Ramaphosa positioned himself as a stabilizing figure. His government focused on fighting corruption, economic recovery, investment attraction, energy reforms. But South Africa faces enormous challenges: high unemployment, crime, electricity shortages, economic inequality. Despite these struggles, South Africa remains a diplomatic powerhouse in Africa and globally. Its membership in BRICS gives it strategic international influence, and Ramaphosa continues to play a major role in African diplomacy and continental negotiations. Nigeria is Africa's most populous country. It is a giant, With over 200 million people, Nigeria's political direction affects the entire continent. Bola Tinubu is considered one of the most powerful political strategists in Nigerian history. Before becoming president, he built enormous political influence over decades. Nigeria possesses vast oil wealth, massive entertainment industries, Africa's biggest tech ecosystem, strong regional influence. Lagos alone is becoming one of Africa's leading economic centers. Tinubu's administration introduced major economic reforms, including controversial fuel subsidy removals aimed at long-term economic restructuring. Supporters say these reforms are necessary for Nigeria's future. Critics argue they increased short-term hardship for ordinary citizens. Still, Nigeria's importance means its leader automatically becomes one of Africa's most powerful figures. Kenya has emerged as East Africa's business and technology hub, and President William Ruto is pushing ambitious economic goals. Ruto often presents himself as a leader focused on the following: economic empowerment, agriculture modernization, digital transformation, infrastructure growth. Kenya's tech ecosystem, often called Silicon Savannah, continues attracting international investment. Nairobi has become a center for startups and fintech innovation. Kenya also plays a major diplomatic role in regional peace negotiations and East African politics. However, rising living costs and taxation policies have generated criticism and protests in parts of the country. Even so, Kenya remains one of Africa's most influential economies. Morocco has quietly become one of Africa's strongest strategic players. Under King Mohammed VI, infrastructure rapidly expanded, high-speed rail developed, renewable energy investments increased, international trade partnerships grew. Morocco also expanded diplomatic and economic influence across Africa. The country positioned itself as a gateway between Africa and Europe. Its massive solar energy projects gained global attention. And Morocco's growing industrial sector continues attracting foreign investment. King Mohammed VI remains one of Africa's most influential monarchs and diplomatic actors. Yoweri Museveni has ruled Uganda for decades. Love him or criticize him, his political survival skills are extraordinary. Museveni played major roles in regional security and East African geopolitics. Uganda has experienced economic growth, infrastructure expansion, oil sector development, increasing regional military influence. But his long presidency has also raised concerns about democracy, political opposition, and generational leadership change. Still, Museveni remains one of Africa's most experienced and powerful political operators. Across Africa, a new reality is emerging. The continent is becoming more urbanized, more connected, more educated, more technologically advanced. African youth are driving innovation in technology, agriculture, finance, entertainment, renewable energy, and leadership matters more than ever. Strong governance can accelerate growth. Poor governance can slow entire generations. The future of Africa may depend on leaders who can create jobs, build infrastructure, fight corruption, strengthen institutions, maintain stability, invest in education and technology, because Africa's greatest resource is not oil, not gold, not diamonds. It is its people. Africa stands at a historic crossroads. The decisions made by today's leaders will shape the continent for decades to come. Some leaders will be remembered as reformers, others as controversial rulers, others as nation builders. But one thing is certain: the world can no longer ignore Africa. Its population is growing, its economies are expanding, its influence is rising, and the story of Africa is still being written. Which African leader do you believe is having the biggest impact today? Tell us in the comments below. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe to African Tales Arising for more powerful stories about Africa's history, politics, leaders, and future. Until next time,